Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we check it out and make sure that this is going to be the right hitch for you. So putting a trailer hitch on a Jeep just makes sense. You know, it looks right at home. And people use these SUVs to do a ton of different things. So having a trailer hitch back here is going to let you pull your trailer around or use your accessories, like let's say if you want to use a bike rack or a cargo carrier. This is going to allow you to get that job done. With that said, when it comes to picking a hitch out, there's quite a few different options out there. And probably one of the big differences with this one compared to some of the other ones is the fact that it's going to be visible for the most part. So you're going to be able to see the cross tube here and your receiver tube opening. Some of the other ones are a little more hidden. You don't see this part, but honestly, to me, I don't know how big of a deal that would be. You know, if you're looking for a factory type appearance or as close as you can get, one of the hidden ones might be a better option, but I don't think this one looks bad at all. You know, it's even on both sides. It kind of sweeps down and kind of blends in, and honestly, you know, putting something like this or any accessory really for that matter on a Jeep kind of just fits right in. It doesn't look out of place by any means. So when it comes to the appearance, you know, you have a couple of different options. If you like the look of this one, great. If you'd rather have something more hidden, there's other choices available as well. So before we get too far, I do want to just kind of go over quickly what this hitch will fit and what it won't. There's a lot of different submodels and special Jeeps out there. You know, you want to make sure to get a hitch that's actually going to fit your vehicle. And with this one, it's going to fit all of them, with the exception of 3. So it's not going to work with the SRT8, the Trackhawk, or the Grand Cherokee L, the big long ones. All the other ones, though, this is going to fit, whether it's a limited like we have here today, more of a base model, one of the ones in between, and even the Eco Diesel. So as long as you have one of those models, you'll be in good shape and able to use this one. I do know a lot of people you know, really just don't plan on pulling a trailer. I'm sure a lot of you would like to carry around a folding accessory like that bike rack or cargo carrier. And one thing I want to mention is in order to do that, in order to fold them up, you're going to need some decent clearance. And the hitch gives us that. So the end of the receiver tube, it's going to be, you know, kind of more or less just right behind our bumper here. So that's going to give us the space that we need to be able to take that accessory, fold it upright, and not have to worry about it hitting the back of our Jeep. With this being a class 3 hitch, it is going to give us a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. You know, super common size. A ton of different things will work with it. At the end of it, there's a reinforced collar for a little bit of extra support. And it is going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, pin and clip does not come included. If you need one, not really a huge deal though, you can always grab it here at eTrailer. And the safety chain openings are going to be a plate style. They are a little bit on the smaller side, but you know, they're going to give us enough space to use just about any size hook that we might have. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to give us some pretty good numbers. The maximum gross tongue weight rating, that's going to be 600 pounds. And that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the hitch. So pretty high number. You'll be able to use just about any size bike rack or cargo carrier that you'd want to, for example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 6,000 pounds. And that's going to be the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. So the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. Now, this can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. And what happens is, whenever you use that, it's going to help keep your Jeep and your trailer nice and level whenever you're pulling it down the road. So for those of you that might have, you know, a bigger camper or something along those lines, it might be something worth checking into. And when you use that, what's going to happen is the weight capacities are going to increase a little bit. Maximum gross tongue weight rating will go up to 750 pounds, and maximum gross trailer weight rating will be increased to 7,500 pounds. But with all that said, it's never a bad idea just to grab your Jeep's owner's manual. That way you can make sure your Grand Cherokee can pull that much weight safely. Let's go ahead now and just take a couple measurements, and these are going to help us figure out which hitch mounted accessories would work best. So if you go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be right at about 15.5 inches. So if you plan on pulling a trailer, chances are pretty good you can use a ball mount that has a straight shank or one that has a small rise in it. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper, that's going to be about 4 inches. And we kind of talked about this earlier, but you can use that measurement to figure out exactly if any of those folding accessories can be stored upright without hitting the back of your Jeep. One thing that I do want to discuss is trailer wiring. So if you're going to be pulling a trailer around, you are going to want the lights to work on it. That way people know what's going on. You're safe and legal. And to accomplish that, you can always grab some trailer wiring. There's a couple different to pick from right here at eTrailer. And with that said too, we also get quite a few people asking about brake controllers, you know, pulling some bigger trailers around that have brakes on them. And in order to apply those trailer brakes, you're going to need a brake controller. And that's actually what we're going to be doing next here on our Jeep that we're working on today. In order to be able to use a brake controller, you're going to need that 4-way trailer wiring, a universal brake controller install kit, and then of course your brake controller itself. A lot of different ones to choose from. I'm kind of partial to Concha brake controllers. A P3 is a good option, but there's a lot to pick from. So it really is just going to depend on what you're trying to do and everything else. But other than that, at the end of the day, you know, hitch you really can't go wrong with. It's going to be able to handle just about anything you want to throw at it, and it's going to look pretty decent while you're doing that. So, you know, definitely a good option for a lot of you. As far as the installation goes, doesn't really get much easier, honestly. There's a couple of factory bolts in the frame rails. You take the bolts out, lift the hitch up, put the bolts back in. So really shouldn't take up a lot of your time or give you any issues at all. So, but if you'd like to stick around and kind of go through that, feel free to. We'll go ahead, pull into the garage, and put it on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be here underneath the back of our Jeep. So if we look on our frame rail on this side of it, we're going to have 2 bolts that we need to pull out. And I want to mention from this point on, anything we do to this side of the vehicle, we're also going to do to the other side because it's set up the same way. But with that said, these are in there pretty tight, so I'm going to break them loose by hand. And I'm using a 21mm socket. So once I get them broke loose, then I can switch over to my power tool here just to kind of speed things up. You want to hold on to this hardware because we are going to be reusing it. So now with the next set of hands, we can take our hitch, raise it into position, and you're going to want to line up the holes in the hitch with those holes in the frame rail that we took the bolts from. So we're going to take those bolts that we pulled out and get them started hand tight. So once the hitch is in place and the hardware is hand tight, we'll grab our socket and snug everything down. And then once we have it snug, we need to come back with a torque wrench and actually torque down all of the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can grab one here at eTrailer, or a lot of times you go to your local auto parts store, they'll have one there available that you should be able to rent. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee.